So guys, we're going to learn about the introduction of malware hacking. So in the first part, we're going to learn the hacking using malware, that all you need to know. So in this malware part, we're going to learn the definition or basics of malware, then destructive malware, then Trojan viruses, that all you need to know, then virus worms or virus and worms, that you say, and we're going to learn about that also, and the beast, which will be demonstrated, and we'll also learn about that. After that, we're going to learn about the Trojan part, how we can create a Trojan. So we will also learn about this, and we'll also demonstrate that. So first part we're going to learn is creating a Trojan, then different ways to enter to the system, evading antivirus software so that they doesn't recognize, and you can create a Trojan into their system, and destroying the system. So all will be demonstrated, and we will all demonstrate and learn about how you can create a Trojan. And the next part we're going to learn is create a virus worm. Like there will be two parts. One part will be just create, and second part will be just utilizing this, how we can use or how we can learn, and we'll also demonstrate that. And after that, we're gonna use a real world example of hacking using malware. So we'll also demonstrate that whole part, and that's the all part about malware hacking that we're going to learn.
Hello there. So today I'll talk about malware. So what is malware? In 2005, Jonathan Held gave a description or definition about malware. So what is malware? A generic term used to describe any form of malicious software, virus, Trojan horse, spyware, adware, malicious, ActiveX, web page, rootkit, or zombie. All the thing is malware. So, types of malware. First, worm. A worm, like a virus, is designed to copy itself from one computer to another, but it can travel alone and independently without user option. A great danger of worms is their ability to replicate in great volume. A worm could send out copies of itself to everyone listed in your email, causing very heavy network traffic that could slow down the internet. An example of worm is Mailchimp. Multiple threat malware. Malware may operate in multiple ways. Purchase virus infects in multiple ways. Multiple file types. Blended attacks uses multiple methods of function or transmission to maximize the speed of contagion and severity of attack. It may include multiple types of malware. Ninja has worm virus mobile code. So what is malware actually? How would you define it? Malware is short for malicious software. I discussed a few minutes ago about malicious software. Computer programs designed to infiltrate and damage computers without the user's consent. Malware is the general term covering all the different types of threats to your computer safety, such as viruses, spyware, worms, trojans, rootkits, and this kind of all the things. So, what is malicious software? Malware is not new. Fred Cohen's initial virus work in 1980s used viruses to break MLS softwares. Types of malware: virus, passive propagation, and is active propagation. Trojan horse, unexpected functionality. Trapdoor, backdoor, unauthorized access. Rabbit, exhaust system resources. Spyware, steals information such as password or in kind of databases. So this is actually malicious software. What is different types of malware programs? The screen you see viruses, ransomware, scareware, spyware, trojans, adware. So what is viruses? These bugs normally are attached to an email, and ransomware encrypts your files and then demands a ransom to return the data to user. And scareware, the user would be taken to a page to purchase a fake program. And spyware, it can monitor all forms of communication and interaction on a device. And trojans, this application is actually stealing personal data, spying, or even crashing your computer. And adware will appear the user with unwanted ads to attempt to get them to part with their money, which is really dangerous. Adware. Have a look. All viruses are malware, but not all types of malware are viruses. I said it again. All viruses are malware, but not all types of malware are viruses. There is a huge difference. Like one virus is one type of malware, and malware term of malicious software. Virus must be triggered by user, and malware in malicious code. Virus self-replicating, and malware harms devices and steal data. Infections, malware, viruses, and worms. The best known types of malware, viruses, and worms are known for the manner in which they spread rather than any other particular behavior. Originally, the term computer virus was used for a program which infected other executable software, while a worm transmitted itself over a network to infect other computers. More recently, the words are often used interchangeably. Today, some draw the distinction between viruses and worms by saying that a virus requires user intervention to spread, whereas the worm spreads automatically. So top 10 malware business detections in 2080 compared to ago. Backdoor and Trojan is huge, and ransomware is a little bit. Have a look in this chart in this attack, malware attack 2018 biggest attack. Day by day it increasing compared to 2009, 10 and 17, 18. So this is actually what malware is and how it works, how it can go to your computer and damage your computer, and how you can attack anyone's using this malware. Okay, that's it. Have a good day. Hello there. So today I'll talk about malware, destructive malware. So many types of malware, and educated employees check for vulnerabilities, backup data, avoid malware, detect malware with antivirus, isolate viruses with scanning. All many types of malware attack happens in our PC. Look, rootkit, virus, adware, spyware, ransomware. So how does malware get into your computer? Malware usually gets on your computer and spreads in one of several ways, from vulnerabilities in Windows programs, from downloads up to the internet, from browsing infected internet sites, from email attachments, from using instant messaging, from peer-to-peer file sharing, from external media such as CDs, USB keys, file sharing over the network. This is how a malware get attacked in our PC. Many options for malware to get in. If we don't alert, 5 most common ways malware can access somebody's network. Malware or malicious software is one of the most common tools cyber criminals use to steal sensitive information. Computer viruses, worms, Trojan horses, and spyware gain access to a network by infecting a computer connected to it. In an instant, malware can hijack somebody's emails and passwords and even launch denial of service attacks, DOS attacks. However, malware does not appear
It needs an entry point to start and spread into a computer. But how does malware enter somebody's computer? Through the network. So, first type, phishing emails. Phishing is an online scam where cybercriminals duplicate a legitimate email from established companies to make them tools for stealing sensitive information. Most of the time, people do not realize phishing activities have victimized them because the emails they received look too authentic and similar to the original files. However, after clicking on a link embedded in the email, they've already given access to the cybercriminals, unknowingly granting them permission to steal their data. And number two, infected files. Infected files refer to documents laced with malware that becomes a tool used for stealing information by cybercriminals, often sourced from malicious website. Infected files target the codes in a copy and restructure them to do functions other than what users expect them to do. Therefore, it is vital for everybody who owns a personal computer to constantly update their antivirus software, keep their data safe and secure. Number 3, operating system loopholes. Contrary to popular belief, operating systems aren't 100% safe from malware attacks. They can become one of the most sensitive parts of a computer system, making them vulnerable to cyber attacks. But as long as people update their antivirus software installed in their personal computers, no virus or malware should get in and do its goal. Keep in mind that cyber attacks in operating systems are low but not possible. Number 4, connected peripherals. Connected peripheral devices are among the most common and easiest ways for malware to infect a susceptible computer. Through plugging in flash drives and other computer accessories, cyber criminals can program a virus that stays undetected until such time where the user has already given away all their information. As much as possible, try not to use peripheral devices, especially if you're unsure where they have been connected prior. If you cannot avoid them, make sure to do a quick scan before using them. Malicious websites. Number 5, malicious websites have almost similar functionality to email cyber criminals use in phishing. They have duplicated websites, usually from established companies, that look like the copy itself. Malicious websites can look harmless, but they can crack down on a computer's safety features and get all the information it needs out of it. Avoid visiting suspicious websites and only use accredited or popular websites online. So, how to analyze malware infections? How to analyze a URL, link, website, file, and fingerprint? Basic tips to analyze malware infections. How does malware get infected? We discuss about it. Basic approach to analyze malware infections. How to analyze a suspicious mail. How to analyze a suspicious URL. What is a malicious URL, domain, or links? How do attackers abuse URLs to spread infections? Why should you use CURL instead of browser in? Analyzing malware infection, analyzing suspicious URL or links. All the information I discuss in this video, and this is how the malware infections in your PC or malware attack in your PC. So that's it for today. Hello there. So today I will talk about Trojan. So what is a Trojan horse on a computer? What is a Trojan horse virus? It is a program that is downloaded usually with a music or MOV file. They usually will crash memory, send credit card and password to strangers and let them steal identities without the person knowing it. Do you guys just imagine how Trojan horse virus is dangerous and how it effective? Let's watch the full video. I will explain what is Trojan and how it can work with your computer. So, Trojan horse definition: a destructive program that masquerades as a beginning application. Users think they are getting a useful piece of software. Unlike viruses, Trojan horses do not replicate themselves. Example: Trojan horse supposed to read computer viruses, instead introduces viruses onto your computer like antivirus 2009. Look at this one later. So there are many type of malware, and Trojan horse is one of them. A computer program that appears to be useful but that actually does damage. It appears when people are lured into opening a program because they think it comes from a legitimate source. Recently, Trojan horse came in the form of an email that include attachments. Trojan horse can also be included in software that downloaded for free. An example of Trojan horse is Happy 99. It's a malware, and Trojan horse is one of them. Trojan horse example: Trojan horse examples. Rootkit integrates with the anti-kernel. It's very dangerous, virtually undetectable once installed, hides from administrator as well as user. Private TCP IP stack. It is Trojan horse examples. Types of Trojan horse payloads. Trojan horse payloads are almost always designed to do various harmful things, but could be harmless. They are broken down in classification based on how the breach system and the damage they cause. The seven main types of the Trojan horse payloads are remote access, email sending, data destructive, FTP, Trojan, and denial of service attack. Basically, DOS attack. It really a powerful attack. In previous years, DOS in Google and GitHub, hackers gave DOS attack. Trojan horse is a computer program that looks very useful, but when you install the program, it also installs a hidden virus. During the Trojan War, the Greeks gave the Trojans a huge wooden horse as a gift. When the Trojans brought the gift into their city, the Greek soldiers jumped out of the horse and took over the city. Characteristics of modern Trojan: modifies registry to allow auto start each time Windows starts, disables firewall auto update security features, disables or interfaces with added antivirus software adware, hijack thieves, save bots, search and destroy, opens connections to server, sends potentially sensitive information out, keep reinfecting and hijacking machine. So it is modern Trojan's characteristics. So have a look. It's the antivirus avast warning. A Trojan horse was found by Windows antivirus, operating system antivirus. There is no reason to worry. So here a diagram: create Trojan, create developer, execute the dropper, propagation, wrapping. Trojan horses. Trojan horse, also known as Trojan, describes a list of computer threats malware that appear to perform good functions but actually performs malicious functions that allow unauthorized access to the hosting machine. For example, if a program is designed in such a way, it could open a gateway for hackers to control and attack the computer of the user, then that program is said to be a Trojan horse. So this is how Trojan attack: first information gathering, coding the reverse Trojan, vectors preparation, and interaction with the zombie. So that's it for today. Hello there. Hope you guys are well. So today I will talk about virus and worms. So at first, difference between worms and virus. Worms are similar to a virus, but it does not modify the program. It replicates itself more and more to cause slow down the computer system. Worms can be controlled by remote. The main objective of worms is to aid the system resources. And a virus is a malicious executable code attached to another executable file that can be harmless or can modify or delete data. When the computer program runs attached with a virus, it performs some action such as deleting a file from the computer system. Viruses can be controlled by remote. It works automatically. Once a virus or worms attack your PC or application, they leakage the information of this PC and destroy the PC. So computer virus and worm. A computer virus is a program when a code copies itself and replicates itself to other programs, file on a device and may result in corrupting or damaging the device. And computer worm. A computer worm is an independent malicious program where when enters a system can start causing harm damage to the device. An invitation is required to by the host. Worm only needs to enter the device, then it can automatically affect the other files and programs. Few different types computer viruses include boot sector virus, direct action virus, polymorphic virus, macro virus, specific filler virus, override virus, file infector virus. Few of the different types of computer worms are as follows: internet worms, instant messaging worms, email worms, file sharing worms, internet relay chat. A virus may spared when a file is open and then the same malicious code is copied and spared around whenever other files are opened in the host computer. A worm only requires a medium to enter the device. This may be through the internet, email, online messaging applications, and many more. Time taken by a virus to spared in the system. So, worms and virus. A worm is a form of malware that replicates itself and can spread to different computers by network. And a virus is a malicious executable code attached to another executable file which can be harmless or can modify or delete data. The main objective of worms is to aid the system resources. The main objective of viruses is to modify the information. It doesn't need a host to replicate from one computer to another, and virus requires a host is needed for spreading. It is less harmful as compared. It is more harmful. Virus is more harmful. Worms can be deleted and removed by the antivirus and firewall. Antivirus software is used for protection against viruses. Worms can be controlled by remote. Virus can be controlled by remote. This is actually similar. Worms are executed weakness in the file system. Viruses are executable files. What is virus worm? The primary difference between a virus and worm is that viruses must be triggered by the activation of their host. Whereas worms are stand-alone malicious programs that can self-replicate and propagate independently as soon as they have breached the system. What is an example of a worm virus? There are countless examples of worm viruses, some of which you may be familiar with. They became more prominent with the rise of the internet. For instance, the Michelangelo worm had a long run in the 1990s, infecting computers for about 6 years. A computer would be infected without the user even knowing that is until March 6, the birthday of the famous artist after whom the worm was named. What damage can a worm virus do? Worm cause damage similar to viruses, exploiting holes in security software and potentially stealing sensitive information. Which is more dangerous, worm or virus? Usually worm is more dangerous than a virus because it can spread more quickly. For example, a worm could infect all of your email contacts. It could then spread to all of your contacts and then your contacts and so on, creating. Is ILV a virus or worm? The ILOVEU virus is a computer virus or worm. It's spread through an email with a subject line that said "I love you" in 200. Is one of the most well-known and worst computer viruses of all time. What are the symptoms of a computer virus? Number 1, intrusive pop-ups, slow performance, frequent crashes, unknown login items, storage space shortage, missing files, increased network traffic, browser homepage change, hijacked email, disabled antivirus. Types of worms: email worm, internet worm, instant messaging worm, and file sharing network worm. 4 types of worm is available. So, in the propagation phase, the worm will search for other systems to infect, establish remote connections, copy itself to the remote system, and cause the copy to run. Life cycle of a computer virus: first, creation, replication, activation, and discovery, then assimilation, lastly eradication. Symptoms of a computer virus. So when a computer virus is attacked any PC, some symptoms is there. Likely the computer runs slower than usual, the computer crashes, and then it restarts every few minutes. Applications on the computer do not work correctly. Disks or disk drives are incapable. You see a usual error message. An antivirus program cannot be installed on the computer, or the antivirus program will not run. New icons appear on the desktop that you did not put. So that's it for today. Hello everyone, let's talk about Beast. So download and install Beast. The first step is to download Beast and install it. We provide instructions for doing this at the common operating systems. We also recommend installing two additional software packages that are critical part of Beast analysis. These are Tracer for analyzing the output of Beast and Factory for viewing the resulting trees and getting them ready to publications. Introductory tutorials to help you get started with Beast and get familiar with the different components and the workflow. We have put together a series of introductory tutorials that you can work through. First tutorial, as the name suggests, this is probably where you want to start. This tutorial describes the use Beauty and Beast to analyze some primate sequences and estimate a second tutorial. This tutorial follows directly on from the first, looking at the output of Beast, diagnosing problems and summarizing the results. This tutorial will introduce some of the utilities packaged with Beast, Log Combiner and Trinotator, as well as the external applications Tracer and Factory. Estimating rates and dates. This tutorial provides a step-by-step tutorial for analyzing a set of virus sequences which have been isolated at different points in the time. This aim of this exercise is to obtain an estimate of the rate of molecular evolution, an estimate of the date of the most recent common ancestor, and to infer the phylogenetic relationship with appropriate measures of statistical support. So let's open the Beast in virtual machine in Windows XP. I'll show you the using Beast and its feature now. So this is Beast 2.07. Browser exploit against SSL TLS. Beast is an attack that exploits a vulnerability in the transport layer security. So here is a server name. Injection in Internal Explorer. We select inject in explorer.exe. Your attack is email, CGI, ICQ, SIN. So server settings, check all the options. Beast or browser exploit against SSL TLS was an attack that allowed a man in the middle attacker to uncover information from an encrypted SSL TLS. When you connect to a website over HTTPS, the web browser and server negotiate an encryption scheme and key to be used for the reason. Communication is encrypted using much faster symmetric algorithms, usually block ciphers such as DS, 3 days or AES. So binder, open binder and add file. Let's say we have a man in the middle attacker who is sniping KLS 1.0 traffic and can inject data into it. If the attacker knows what kind of data is being sent and where it is in the message, they can inject a specially crafted data block and check if the resulting encrypted block is the same as the corresponding block in the actual message stream. If so, the injected guess was correct and the attacker has discovered the plaintext block. If not, they can try again and again with different likely values. This is called a record splitting attack. So open cd, hide icons, hide tray. You can modify this. The attacker can only check if the entire block was guessed correctly. Block size varies depending on the chipper, but brute forcing a whole block would, in any case, require an impartially large number of attempts. For example, if we have 8-byte 60-bit blocks with 256 possible values for each byte, the total number of combinations to check in 268 into 8 more or less. So this is how you can use beast and attack anyone targeted PC.
So it took around 30 to 40 minutes to install all of the necessary dependencies and files like Python, Wine, and etc. So after that, what you have to do now is just open a terminal or go to the directory where you clone the bail. So I cloned it in here, bail. So what you have to do now is you have to just run this file now, and what is just simple, open terminal here or just terminal and go to this directory which is mine. Then just simply, as you can see, I already go to this directory. I had some problem. So if you face problem something like this while running val.py, so just simply install this pip install this, and after that, yeah, it will simply run. As you can see that we have the welcome skin in here, and now we can start using this veil, and we'll cover these tools in the next lecture. So now that we have veil loaded, as you can see, it is the main command that you can use it with veil. So the first command you can do is to exit. So you can do get info list and all of those available tools. You also need to do the update, because this is very important, because you always want to be up to date when it comes to bypassing the antivirus program, and you can use this as a tool. Okay, let's now start using our validation, and as you can do it, is going to become very easy and you will be able to understand it. So there are main two tools, which is these two. So we have the first one, which is evasion, and second one, which is ordnance. So this tool generates a payload that used by evasion. So you can look at this as a helper for secondary tool. Now what I mean by payload is that payload is the part of a code, that a backdoor that does the stuff that what you want. So that does the evil stuff, if you want to say. So is the part of the code that gives us a reverse connection. So it's the part of the code that download and execute something on that target computer, and is the part of the code that allow us to achieve what you want to execute that file, and this is going to be become more clear when we start to using this veil. Now for now we are interested in evasion, so we are going to just type use one because one is evasion. So the first thing what we need to do is we need to list all of those payloads, available payloads, into this evasion menu. So just type list, simple, and you can see there's 41 payloads, different payloads in here, and all of those payloads follow a certain naming program pattern. So as you can see, for example, let's use this one. So because that's the payload that I'm going to be using, and you can see that the payload is divided in 3 parts: first part, second part, and third part. So the first part right here is this. So this refers to the program and the language, so that's the payload is going to be wrapped in. So we have the EBIL code, and EBIL code is going to be wrapped into a certain programming language that the target computer understands. And right here, as you can see, this payload uses the Go program. So we can see many of these payload using different programs like C, CS, Go, PowerShell, Python, and Ruby. So now let's talk about the second part, which is Metapreter. This is really important because this is the type of the payload and the type of the code that's going to be executed on the target computer. In example, which is a payload, so this payload is designed by Metasploit, because this is a huge framework for hacking and it allows you to do a lot of things. But in this lecture we're going to be focusing on creating a payload. And what's really cool about this interpreter is that it runs on the memory and it allows us to migrate between the system process. So we can have like payload or the backdoor running from a normal process like Explorer, for example, and this payload will allow us to gain full control over our target computer. So we'll be able to navigate through the file system, download and upload files, turn on the microphone, turn on the webcam, even use the computer to hack other computer itself, and install a keylogger, and you can literally do anything you can think of, and all of those will be running from a memory from a normal process on the system. So it's a very hard to detect and it doesn't leave a lot of footprint because it's really cool, and that's why we'll be using it a lot. And the third part of the name is the method that's going to be used to establish a connection. So in here you can see that is called rev https.py. So the rev stands for reverse and https is the protocol and is going to be used to establish a connection. So we can see that this payload will create a reverse https connection. So you can see this one right here, for example this one. So it creates a various HTTP connection, and we have this one that creates a reverse TCP connection. Now what I mean by reverse is that the connection is going to be come from the target computer to my own computer. So I want to be connected to the computer that I want to hack, and what's going to happen is that once the person double click the backdoor will connect back to me and from the target computer, and that's cool because then I will be able to bypass antivirus program because the connection is not going to be detect computer that's coming back to my computer. So it's literally as if the target person is connected to a normal website and I'm going to use a port of that website that uses like 80 or 8080. So again, if the person analyze the connection, it will look as if they are literally just connecting to a normal website. Also, if the target is computer is hidden behind a router or behind a network, again this is going to work because the connection is coming from the target computer to me instead of me connected to the target computer. So using a reverse connection is really handy, and I think this is really the only practical way of getting access to a computer, because there is a lot of things that you can stop you from connecting a certain computer. Now this is the general naming pattern. You will see some payload like this, like in here, like this one. So what is going to do is going to payload that inject to your other payload, and is going to click and create a normal payload, and the normal payload inject a detector payload. So for example, now it does this to try to bypass more security, and usually they want to bypass more things than the normal payload would bypass. So that's why I usually use one of the names for normal payload in here. And so this is it, that's all about the payloads. So I literally just wanted you to understand what those payload is, what the difference between these reverse and bind and TCP payload is. This way you can just understand and it will be more clear to you, and I can just use the payload that I want without explaining in our next lecture. So we are going to be generating a payload and we will be testing it against antivirus program. So now we are going to be using Whale to create a factor. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the list of all the available tools. So we have two tools, which is as usual evasion and ordnance. So we will be using evasion, use one to use this, and then we're going to list all of those payloads. So just type list and it will list all of those payloads. So we will be using number 15. So I'm gonna just type use 15, then we will be using this reverse HTTPS, and it will now first, if you after typing use 15, it will first show me all of those information in here. So as I said, I want to use the interpreter reverse HTTPS, so that's we will be using in here. So as you can see, it gives me lots of information about this particular payload. Then it will show me the option that I can set for this payload in here. So the main option that you want to set, and the most important one, is the IP. So this one, lhost. So this is the IP address which you will be going to be receiving the connection, and as we said, we will be going to have a reverse connection, and we need to set the IP address which the payload or the payload will try to connect back, and in our case we want to receive the connection back to our this machine, Kali machine. So we are going to set the lhost to our IP address of our this machine, which is our Kali machine. Now to give this IP of this Kali machine, you have to know your IP, what is your IP in your Kali machine. So this is my IP, so I will be setting this IP in here, or you can just type ifconfig to check your IP address. Now what we have to do now is we will going to be set our lhost. So we will be setting our lhost as our IP address as our machine. So just type set lhost. This is our lhost, so its IP address will be set in here in this blank space. Then Once the backdoor is executed, and I'm going to set, after setting this lhost, so what you have to do now is you have to set your L port. So in default the L port is set a 280, which is really good because that's the port that's used by the web server. So as I said, the connection will look as if the target person is connected to a website, and it's not going to be suspicious. But we don't want to use this port because I'll have a website running on this port. So instead of port 80, we will be using port 8080. This is another port that used by web server, so it's still not suspicious, and it should bypass the firewalls. So I'm just going to just type set L port to 8080. So it will set L port 8080 in here. So what you have to do now is, so you have to just type option to show the updated values. So just type options and press enter, and as you can see it will show you the updated values in here. As you can see, we set our L host as our Kali machine, and we set L port as our, has changed our L port 80 to 8080. Now if you generate the vector like this, you will need to bypass all the antivirus program except the AVG. So I want to try this, and that's how we know this. So that's not good enough because we want to bypass everything. Now the way antivirus program work is, they have a large database of signatures, and these signatures corresponded to files that contains the harmful code. So what they do is they compare the signature of your file of your this payload to all the files and into this huge database. So if your file matches to their any files, then they will flag it as a virus or as a malware. So if it doesn't, then they will think that this is a normal file and it's not malware. So the main point is in here is that we are going to be try and modify the file as our vector as much as possible to make it more unique, so that we bypass the signature of the database and we will be able to bypass any antivirus program, or we will try to bypass any antivirus program. Now as I said, builders do with that it's an encryption detector and it's infected with the memory so that it doesn't get detected, and it's already doing a good job at it. So it's doing pretty much everything except for a couple of antivirus programs. So just to bypass the antivirus programs, we need to set some optional options, and that really won't do such difference. They will just make the backdoor look a bit different. So the first example I'm going to modify is a processor. So as you can see, your processor set as X. So I'm going to modify this processor because we will be using the minimum number of processor to use by this vector. So I'm not going to set a huge number of processor because that will just make my backdoor won't work. So I'm just going to set it as 1. So what you have to do now is simply just set processor as 1, and it will set processor as 1 in here, which is pretty much nothing. So I'm going to set another option which is sleep. So because that's basically lets the backdoor sleep for a number of seconds that you set before it executed the evil code, and that habit before it executed the payload. So I'm going to set this sleep as 6. Simply just type set space sleep as 6. So it's going to set sleep to the 6. Now let's again check our updated value. So just type option and it will show you all those updated value. As you can see, we set our processor as 1 and also set our sleep value as 6. So now I have my IP address properly, I have my L host, L port, I have my processor, I have my sleep, all of those updated. So I'm going to generate the backdoor now and just simply type generate, because as you can see generate will generate the payload. So this is the command. So simply just type generate and it will ask you to name your file. As you can see, it will ask you to name your output file. So I just set this name as rev http 8080, so that we can remember which payload and which port to use the factor in our feature. Now the payload is generated. As you can see, the payload is generated. It is this using this payload module, which is reverse HTTPS, and it's the executable file is located in this directory, and the name of this payload is reverse HTTPS 8080.exe. as you can see, this is the executable file, and the source code that uses the Go programming, and the Meta Explorer resources, that file uses this one. So as you can see, it's completed and it's give you all the information in here. So just copy this path or go to this directory. Now let's go and check to see if backdoor is detected to how many antivirus program. So we can use a built-in program to using a check BT command, but this feature only uses the signature of the file and it's not 100% accurate. Sometimes it tell you that the file will bypass all antivirus, but it will actually be detected. So you can also use various tools, so I don't recommend that, but please don't do that, because if you do that, you will backdoor will become less effective, because various total shares result of this scans with antivirus program. What we're going to do is we're going to website to check this file if it's detect or not detect to this antivirus. So just go to Google, and I already selected, and go to this antiscan.k, select your file and scan your file. So as you can see, it already detected, because I previously scanned on my computer with this file. That's why it already detected with lot of antivirus. Also, as you can see, it detected clean on many antiviruses, even on Commodore is popular antivirus, as you can see. So as you can see, this file is bypassing lots of program, also not bypassing a lots of antivirus program. So we can use this backdoor against any device, and we will be sure that the device or computer will not be able to detect this file as a virus, because most of this computer do not run this antivirus, and most of this computer always runs like Malwarebytes, Panda antivirus, this of it. So it will show you clean, but it might get detected. Also, it might not get detected in those antivirus, because depending on the way the backdoor is getting encrypted and is getting generated. I have actually generated this backdoor while using this, so it did not detect it with Avast. Previously I used this file to check on my Windows machine, but did not detect in here. But as you can see, it was showing you that it will detect, but as I said, it may detect or may not detect. In those antivirus, those are shown in red. So I generated, it will generate with 10 seconds and it will still get detected. Then if you just try to modify those values to try and check whether it will detect or not. So as you can see this value, so change this value to 6 to 10, you may not able to bypass other antivirus. So what you want to do is you want to keep playing around with those these options. You want to keep playing around with this payload until you manage to achieve the best result, so that you can bypass as much as antivirus as much as possible using this method. Payload that we created uses a reverse payload. So like I said before, it does not open a port in the target computer. It actually connects from the target computer to our computer, and by doing that it will bypass firewall and it will look less suspicious. So for this to work, we need to open a port on our computer. So what you need to do is you need to open our metapletter, which is metasploit. So just type msf console, then it will open our metasploit. So now so I'm going to use a metapletter framework. Now to use or run a metapletter deploy it, all you have to do is just msf console. So the method or the interpreter operator that will create it for us is actually programmed by the people who makes this exploit. So that's why we are using metasploit to listen for our incoming connections. So validation actually uses metasploit to generate the backdoor that we created in our previous lecture. So to listen for incoming connection, we are getting used to this module limiter. So what I said, what you have to do now is you have to use our this handler. So just type use exploit multi slash handler, then it will load this handler, which is in default is reverse TCP. So don't worry, we will use our reverse HTTPS. So just type option. As you can see, it uses generic reverse TCP. So what you have to do now is we have to change this to our previous reverse HTTPS that we created the payload, the same payload method. So simply what you have to do is change this module, change. So what you need to do is change this payload to this one. So just type set payload and it will change this payload to this one. So simple, just type payload and then again show options to check if this payload is changed or not. As you can see, it already changed to our reverse HTTPS payload. Then what you need to do is we need to, as usual as previously what we did, change our lhost and lport. So simple, set lhost to the IP address of our Kali machine or use this machine that you will be using, and as same set payload to 8080 that we previously set. As you can see, after that show option gives you all the updated results in here, and after that simply type exploit, and as you can see it is generated and start to exploit in this machine and in this port. So what you have to do now is the file or the backdoor that we created previously, we need to send it to our Windows machine. So we have to go to this directory where your backdoor was created. So var, you have to go var lib val output compile. As you can see, this is our backdoor that we created last time. So just copy this, paste it to the Apache web server that was built in Kali machine, so which is in this directory www.html. So I created a folder, so I paste it in here. As you can see, this is our payload. So What you have to do now is you have to run our Apache server. Simple, just go to the directory. As you can see, this is our IP of our Kali machine and this is the directory of this folder. Just download it, and as you can see, my antivirus didn't even detect it and it was saved. So what you have to do now is you have to just open this file. So just press open, more info, run anyway. So let's try to download again. I changed the sleep time so that, so as you can see it already run, and as you can see it didn't even recognize and it run. So you see the target machine it connected and it is working. So now we have a basic full control over that computer, this computer right here, and we have a like material session, and then the interpreter will allow us to do anything and literally anything that the user have and you can do on this computer, which is the Windows 10 in our virtual machine. So that's how this payload works using this reverse HTTP payload. So okay, now that we have the tool is loaded, let's see how we can use this tool to generate a keylogger. Now you can see that it is given us the command that you can generate, like you can see it's given us the command like KUQ. So you can use this tool and it's very simple. You can use K to generate keyloggers, you can use U to update and Q to quit. Now if you do type U, as you can see I am already in updated version. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put K to use this keylogger and to generate it. So this looks like the Word document. You can generate a Adobe Flash update, fake Word document, Excel document, PowerPoint, Acrobat PDF, and also you can use and generate a blank executable. But these files are not very appropriatable because this or document, Excel or PowerPoint, they just put an icon of this document and then they make it executable and they will rename it to the executable to like test.exe, and instead of test.exe it's not very convincing. That we're going to be look at a better way that we can do in our future lectures. So for now I'm just going to create a blank executable which is number 6. So just type 6, then just they will ask you to test your type your email that will receive all those logs that will generate using this executable. So make sure you don't use your main Gmail and make sure you create a testing purpose and Gmail, and then make sure you use that Gmail and not the main Gmail. So I'm just gonna use this for a test purpose like any Gmail for testing purpose and type gmail.com. Then we'll type password as abc 123 abc 123. So just press enter. As you can see my test Gmail and password is this one. So and now this tool is showing the information that you enter to make sure that everything is correct. So if you put the wrong information in here, the keylogger will not work, and you won't be able to receive those report. Now everything is in this correct. So if you just press Y, and it will create a payloader into a dist folder. So I already created one. So using my test Gmail, so not this Gmail, I already created one, and it will be saved in your blogger folder, in your dist folder, not this. Okay, in here. So let's visit opt blogger. So as you can see, it will create a b dot. So it will create a generator. Then what you have to do now is, then it will create a generator which I already created. So simply what is just type W and Y, because this information correct, and it will generate. And the main thing is, make sure you go to this page, because otherwise you won't receive the less secure apps. Make sure your less secure apps is turned off. I cannot really turn off because this is my main account, so this is turned on, because you when you use your test Gmail, so make sure you visit this web page and make sure you turn this off, so that you can receive the less secure emails. Then after that, we're going to test. So I already test my b.exe. As you can see, the file I generated is almost secure from all antivirus. So as you can see, none of them antivirus is generate or make this as a fault. So 26 antivirus make it as clean. So it bypassed nearly all famous antivirus program, and everything else will be able to bypass it, and they won't be able to make it as a harm file. So that's why you use blogger to generate a keylogger using this simple method. So guys, in this lecture we will be talking about how we can connect to a Windows machine using a generated backdoor, and how can you destroy a Windows machine, like use any command that you want using a payload. So as you can see, we have a connection to our backdoor, and we created a backdoor, and we set a payload, and we are listening for incoming connection here. From any connection that comes in here will be same port as port 8080, and will be on this machine, and we will be receiving here all of those inside in this computer. So what we are going to do now is, we are going to test the backdoor to make sure that it works. And to do that, we're going to use a basic delivery method. So we're now going to be talking about a smart delivery method that will check the person to opening the file, and then we're going to send it to them. So for now, we're just going to do a very basic example how you can utilize your payload to connect or get back to your Windows machine, just to test our very basic factor. So to do that, we are going to put the backdoor into our website server and then download the backdoor from the target computer. So there is nothing smart about this, and you probably cannot use this way to deliver the backdoor to a real person. So let's see how to send our backdoor and how to set up this. So first we have to start your Apache server, like service apache.start, and it will start your Apache server. Then your Apache server location is in here, var www.html. This is your Apache server location. So I created a folder and I sent it my backdoor that I created in here. So the backdoor we created, which is located in here. So let's see. So as you can see, this is the backdoor that we created. As you can see, 80801. So I just copy this in here because we need to send this file to our Windows machine. So what we need to do is we need to open our Apache server and go to our this location and then just download this file. So if we go to our Apache server and evil file folder, let's see what happens inside our Linux machine. Then we'll show you inside of our Windows machine. So let's see 192.103, then evil files, as you can see, and we are into our Apache machine, and you can just simply click and download this backdoor and then run the backdoor to make Windows machine connect to your hand. So let's open our Windows machine. So we will be attacking our Windows 7, which is our also virtual machine. So let's okay. So let's go to our Explorer because I don't have any browser currently installed in here. I just use this for penetration testing. So let's go to our Apache server 192.168 evil file. As you can see, we are right into our server, and you can simply, so first let's Windows firewall, let's disable our Windows security because this payload will be then deleted if we don't. Okay, let's download this file. Let's save as desktop. Started reverse handler on. It should have worked. Okay. Okay, I think there is some problem in here. 192.168.103. Okay, let's try again and download. I typed some different things. Last time I did on HTTP, so I think that I did some mistake in here. So I solved it, and let's see. Let's download this file again. Save as desktop, save. Okay. Hell host online 2168 L port reverse HTTPS Windows metadata reverse. The session was open, so what? Error command sysinfo. So we can run any command in here, like let's try Control X. So let's try again, show options. So let's exploit exploit. So as you can see, let's try to antivirus. Windows 10 is, as you can see, the metadata session has opened. Previously it shows some problem, so let's type sysinfo. As you can see, my all the information you can have right now from your Windows. Like my Windows is Windows 10 x64-bit. You can have anything, and you can do anything right now in here because you have now accepted your payload. So let's try a screenshot. So it's saved to our root folder, as you can see. So it created our screenshot in Windows. So you have full access right now into this Windows machine. And you can do anything you want in here because you have now full access of this Windows machine in your Kali Linux Metapreter terminal. So you can do like, you can to play command, you will play from, you can record mic, webcam chat, you can do anything, get desktop, your desktop interpreter, you can have like get PID, key, local, all, you can do all of those right in here. So that's all about this payload. So that's it, how it works. So it may have some problem, as you saw first time. So after that you can simply use payload to get your metapreter session in here on your Kali Linux machine. So in this lecture we are going to be talking about keyloggers. A keylogger is a program that runs in the background of the target computer and basically records all key strikes that the target person enters on their computer. So it doesn't matter where they use the keyboard, whether they use it to log into a website, whether they use it in a chat, whether they use it to write stuff and ever document and the program, because this program will usually just record every key strike. The person that type on the keyboard and then send it to you to your email to analyze. Now you might think, why would I want to do that? You already know how to create a backdoor, and the backdoor that allow you to gain full control over your target computer. So you will be able to record all the key strikes, and you will also be able to do much more, because the backdoor basically allows you to do whatever the target person can do. Well, the reason why you might need a keylogger is that, first of all, the keylogger that comes with Ampere and with the metapreter store. So the data on the file, they started with the data on the computer also. For you to able to read the data, you will need to come back after a while and connect to this computer through your backdoor, and then you will be able to read the data with this keylogger that you have gathered. Whereas when it comes to the keylogger that we are going to have a look at now, it will actually run on the background and send the data to you through your email. So it's always going to be working there, as also always going to be sending the data to you. So you want to have a connect back to the target computer. So there won't be any connection between you and the target computer, so it's less likely to be detected. And another reason why you might use a keylogger is you might not be interested into hacking the target computer like previously what you did with Whale and the Fathead. So you don't target, could be a website that the target person uses a Facebook account or Twitter account, so the target computer is really not useful for you. So there is no point of them sending them a backdoor and then have a connection coming back from that computer to your computer and have all the data getting transferred between you and the target computer. And you really, so there's nothing really useful on that computer. So it's modular thing to do that, because send them to a backdoor, and the backdoor is getting or going to run in the background and then send you to the data and the stuff that the person types to your email, and then you can analyze them and log in as an account owner, whether it's a server, whether it's a Facebook or any other types of account. It's literally records everything. So the target person types on the keyboard, and so to do this we are going to use a keylogger program called blogger. So literally just search blogger, and the first page it will access all of those. So as previously we are going to download the same way that we are download the Whale and Fathead, and we are going to download it from here. Just copy this and get the repo the same way that we previously downloaded. So as usual, I already downloaded it, so again let's show you the process again. So this process is also the similar way that it does. As you can see, I already installed the blogger, so for testing purpose. So let's show you the process again. So what you have to do, go to the opt directory, cd space opt. Okay, I did wrong. So cd opt, then list all the directory, then we'll type git clone, then this blogger, and just press enter, then it will clone all of those files in here. So now we'll go to this blogger directory. So just type blogger, list all of those, and previously what you need to do now is install this file. So as previously, the same process, it will install like for Bale and Fathead, the way that we install. So simply just install this, and after that, when the install process is done, it will ask you to install some application. It will automatically install everything. What you have to do now is just as previously, next, and you're done. After that, what you have to do now is you have to run this b.py program. So just simply type this. As you can see, it's working. So just press enter, and then you can generate keylogger, update, and any of these tools using this, and make sure it is for educational purpose. So they are not responsible for any illegal use of it, and that's it. As you can see, the tool, you can use it now, and it is ready to use. So we're gonna have a look on it and how to use it, and we'll test it for this to generate in our next lecture. So okay, now that we have the tool is loaded, let's see how we can use this tool to generate a keylogger. Now you can see that it is given us the command that you can generate, like you can see it's given us the command like kuq. So you can use this tool, and it's very simple. You can use k to generate keyloggers, you can use u to update, and q to quit. Now if you do type u, as you can see I am already in updated version. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put k to use this keylogger and to generate it. So this looks like the Word document. You can generate a Adobe Flash update, fake Word document, Excel document, PowerPoint, Acrobat PDF, and also you can use and generate a blank executable. But these files are not very appropriatable, because this or document, Excel or PowerPoint, they just put an icon of this document and then they make it executable, and they will rename it to the executable to like test.exe, and instead of test.exe, it's not very convincing. That we're going to be look at a better way that we can do in our future lectures. So for now, I'm just going to create a blank executable, which is number 6. So just type 6, then just they will ask you to test your type your email that will receive all those logs that will generate using this executable. So make sure you don't use your main Gmail, and make sure you create a testing purpose and Gmail, and then make sure you use that Gmail and not the main Gmail. So I'm just gonna use this for a test purpose, like any Gmail for testing purpose, and type gmail.com. Then we'll type password as abc123 abc123. So just press enter. As you can see, My test Gmail and password is this one. So and now this tool is showing the information that you enter to make sure that everything is correct. So if you put the wrong information in here, the keylogger will not work, and you won't be able to receive those report. Now everything is in this correct. So just if you just press Y, and it will create a payloader into a dist folder. So I already created one. So using my test Gmail, so not this Gmail, I already created one, and it will be saved in your blogger folder, in your dist folder, not this. Okay, in here. So let's visit opt blogger. So as you can see, it will create a b dot. So it will create a generator. Then what you have to do now is then it will create a generator which I already created. So simply what is just type W and Y, because this information correct, and it will generate. And the main thing is make sure you go to this page, because otherwise you won't receive the less secure apps. Make sure your less secure apps is turned off. I cannot really turn off because this is my main account, so this is turned on, because you when you use your test Gmail, so make sure you visit this web page and make sure you turn this off, so that you can receive the less secure emails. Then after that we're going to test. So I already test my b.exe. As you can see, the file I generated is almost secure from all antivirus. So as you can see, none of them antivirus is generate or make this as a fault. So 26 antivirus make it as clean. So it bypassed nearly all famous antivirus program, and everything else will be able to bypass it, and they won't be able to make it as a harm file. So that's why you use blogger to generate a keylogger using this simple method. Hello everyone. So in this lecture we're going to be talking about payloaded backdoor. So the Metaexploit framework is the most commonly used framework for hackers worldwide. It allows hackers to set up listeners that create a conducive environment, which is as metapletter, to manipulate the compromised machine. So now we'll look at the framework within Kali Linux that can be used to attack a Windows machine, and we'll do this through a malicious executable file using MSF Venom or metapletter. So now I will discuss how to create a backdoor. Then we'll use command or terminal to create a backdoor. Then we can actually use this execute executable backdoor on the Windows machine, and we will send this to our target machine, and we will execute this, and then we will attack that machine using a communication channel that can operate the victim. So we will create a backdoor using Metaxploit. So first of all, you need to turn on your Kali Linux machine, open terminal in here, and then just type msf venom. After that, we are going to select our use -p to select our payload, which will be our reverse TCP. So just type Windows / metapreter / reverse _ TCP. Then so what we did, we use our MSF Venom, we select our payload, which is Windows Metapreter reverse TCP. Then we need to define an IP address of our Kali Linux machine. So we need to select our L host, which is the Kali Linux machine IP address. L host is equal to, so let's check our Kali Linux machine. So let's create another terminal, type ifconfig. So let's see, so this is our L host. So just type 192.168.1.102. Then we're going to select our L port. You can select any port you want, but I'm going to select port as 12345, a random port. You can choose any port you want. Then we need to select our executable or extension format. So what you need to do is you need to type -f, which is our extension format, and our extension will be executable file, which is exe. So exe is our executable file. Then after that we are going to have to select our name our executable file, just then type -o, then name as Windows backdoor. So let's type backdoor.exe. So then press enter. It will take some time, like 10 to 15 seconds. Then it will initialize this payload, under this L host and under this L port, using this name and using this executable file. So as you can see, Windows backdoor is created, and it created where? It created in root. So let's just show if this is created or not. Go to root. So we need a root access to go in here. So just type root. So give root access. As you can see, it has it created a Windows backdoor payload, which is our exe or executable file. So this is going to be our executable file to perform our security breach. So we need to use So what you need to do is now, so let's you need to move this file into your service folder or your Apache server, which is located in here. So I already pasted this file here, as you can see, Windows backdoor. So we need to do is you need to copy this file in here or make a folder and paste this in here like I did, because Kali Linux has a built-in web server, so that you can transfer this executable payload into your attacker machine, which is our Windows machine. Then what you need to do is we need to give our permission. So just type ls to list all of those files in here, and then type chmod plus x, then the name of the file, which is Windows. Just type place tab and it will automatically rename all of those. So just type this and list again. As you can see, it is now executable because it's showing in green. So let's just copy this and send it to in here, because it is on previous file. So let's just delete this and send it our this file. So copy var to our Apache server and into this folder. So let's just copy this. Then what you need to do now is you need to open your restart your Apache server, because you cannot visit your server unless you restart it. Because, okay, let's show you this, because 192.168, as you can see, I cannot visit in here because my Apache server is not open. So let's just open service apache.start. So as you can see, just reload this page 192.168.192. As you can see, it loaded and it has a Windows backdoor that we created right now. So right after that, after our web server is open, we need to open our MSF console. So let's just open MSF console in a new tab. So just type MSF console and it will load your Metapredator framework. As you can see, Metaexploit framework, it load up. So next I will show you how we can use this to gain access or send this file to your Windows machine and get your payload and receive and privileges and all of those using this Metaexploit. Hello everyone, so in this lecture we will go through the advanced part. So now in this lecture we are going to look at a tool called Lazan. So Lazan is a password recovery tool that works on Windows, Linux and OS X. So far we see how we can use a keylogger to spy on a target computer, and that will send us everything that the target person type on a keyboard, including username and password. So if they use the keyboard to type their password, they will get that. So now there is a one problem with this. So if the person have their password saved on the browser, so if they log into their website to their account without typing the password in the keyboard, Then another problem is if the person runs the keylogger after they log in to their account. Again, in both of these cases, the person will not be using the keyboard to log in and we won't be able to get their password. Therefore, in this situation, using a keylogger will not be ideal. A better solution would be to use a password recovery tool like Lazan. So now I have a website of their GitHub in here, as you can see, and in here we will be downloading, and you can download for Mac, Linux and Windows. So we'll be using Windows. So if you scroll down, and you will see this tool supports a large number of programs, and it supports pretty much all browser, Chrome, Firefox, Opera, etc. And it supports Wi-Fi password. It get you the Windows password, and it gets you the safe password with a large number of programs. Not only that, but it will also give you the password that is stored in memory. Now all of this will become clear when you run it. Now we can go and git clone from here. So as usual you git clone from here, but somehow it's not working. Then compile the project on an executor will send it to a large target of a Windows device, but I'm not going to do that because there is a detailed step-to-step explanation on how to do that on this wiki. So and here if you go to wiki, and you will see that how to build, and lots of information step by step. And if you go to releases, so we can download without having to compile anything. As you can see, it's download executable.exe file. We only have to download exe on our Windows. Very simple. The only drawback is that if you download this file without disabling your antivirus, then it will not work, because it will act as a vulnerable app and your antivirus will delete this. So make sure you disable your antivirus before downloading this file. So we'll just download this. As you can see, I already downloaded this in here. So simply download this file, and you don't need to open this file as a click. You will open this file using command tool. Now you probably notice that I am doing this on my Windows machine and I am not doing it in my Kali machine, and the reason for this is Lazan is designed to be opposed of exploitation tool. So it's designed to be used after you hack into your target computer. But I think it's very handy tool to actually gain access to computers, so it can be used in other situation and then other post exploitation. So as I said before, sometimes you don't really want to hack into other target computer. Sometimes you are just interested into an account that the target person login, and it will be better to just send them a file, and that file somehow will give you a password that the targeted person uses. So we can see that we can do that also with keyloggers, but I want to show you how to do that with Lazan. But for now and for today's lecture, we are going to be running Lazan within Windows just to see how we can use this tool. And then I'm going to show you how to open this and send it as an executable, that if a target person runs it, it will get you all the password on your email. So for now, just going to write a command prompt. So go to your command prompt, open it. So at that moment you can see you are now right now in this location. So you have to go to our desktop because our executable or Lazen file in desktop. So simply go to cd desktop. As you can see, we are now into our desktop. So now if I do dir, this will list all of those files that are in here. As you can see, lazen.exe. Just simply you have to type this file and type -h for, as usual, help. So let's type lazen.exe and -h for all of those help tools. As you can see, like as we always do, that will show you the help menu of this tool, and you can see that the basic uses of this tool is in here. So if you put the name of the tool following by a plugin that you want to run, so each of these plugin will get you password related to these categories. For example, you can run charts or chats to get your chats password, then you can run mail to get the mail password, and you can get all of those through all of those password. Then you can get git module to get the git password. So you can run all through all modules, so you can run it. You can run Windows to get Windows password, as you can see. Then you can get Wi-Fi password, other to get Wi-Fi password. You can run browser to get the product browser information. As you can see, Wi-Fi, Windows, system admin browser, you can get all of those passwords. For example, you can run chats to get your chats password, as previously I told you. Now you can also get help about each of these module by running lazen following by a name of the module. So for example, let's say we wanted to help the browser plugin. So what you have to do is you simply just have to type lazen.exe browsers browsers, then -h for help tool. As you can see, lots of tool inside this browser module. So it run the program with module that the browser module is inside. So the password saved on can be Firefox, Google Chrome, Chromium, all of those password, Brave password, Vivaldi, as you can see. So it will get me the all the saved password inside all of those browser. So if you want to just get a help about this, you can simply type -h to specify the module, and it will get you all of those in here. As you can see, minus Google Chrome, then so it will use your Google Chrome password, then -h for help, -b for increase verbosity level, and -quit for it will nothing but print the output. So and also, so if you want to specify it supported or specify a browser, just simply type this after using browser, then type your browser that you want to target. Now using this tool we will be using in our future lecture also. So basically what you do is you type design and then name of the tool followed by, so first you type lazen.exe, then name of the tool or name of the module that you want to run, then the module that you want to run, followed by the options inside of this module. So this tool is very handy. Like I said, we are running it from the Windows for now because we just want to learn how to use this tool first, and then I'm going to show you how to open us this tool for future lectures. So let's see how we can use Lazan to recover password from this computer. So I'm going to go to this browser mode. So let's go lazan.exe browsers. So if you have saved password in any of the browser like Firefox, Chrome or Edge or Explorer, then it will show you all the password in here. So remember, what this does is every time I try to come in or go into log into your Gmail account, my password will be detected in here. So it's either automatically let me in, or I will have to do is just press the login button to log into any browser to save the browser. So if you don't click save your password into your browser, then it will not show because you haven't saved your browser, either any of your Firefox or any browser, because if you don't save your password it will not show because it isn't saved. So but in the case of Keylogger that we previously showed, Keylogger will never get to see my password because I will never type this password while logging into your computer, because your password is already saved. You just click the save password and you just log in. So that's why tool like Lazan is really handy. So what we're going to do is what I did before, just type Lazan -h to get all the help or all the tool that you want to use. So you will get to see all the modules that you are interested, but we are interested in browsers. So if you just type browsers, BROW browsers, then it will show you all of those in here. But if you just type -on to save it as a file but not in here, you can also do that, but we are not going to do that. So if you also use -f, then it will show you all the tools for browsers. So let's see, as you can see, no password is found because this is my virtual machine, and I just use this for testing purpose or penetration testing purpose. I don't save any of this password in here. So if you save password, then it will save all of those in here. So let's try -b will show you all those browsers that are in here. As you can see, no password is found because I didn't save any password. So if you have any saved password, then all will be saved in here. So let's try another module, so which have a saved password right into our virtual machine. So let's try Windows to see our password of Windows. So as you can see, my password is already in here, which is my bold password, and also iOS not master key is this. So as you can see, all of those browsers in here, which is this website browser, and this is the login ID, username, and this is the browser. So and also this is the no, this is the sorry, this is the Internet Explorer. So as you can see lots of browsers password and username and password in here. Simply just selecting the option that you want to do. So we used our vault, so only have vault password saved in here. That's why it showed a vault password into this site. So this is the site password, which is our country site. So he cannot log in either using username and password. So it managed to get the password inside of our Internet Explorer and also the master key from this machine, Windows 10 virtual machine. So and again, regardless of the website, it will save everything in here. So what it does is it just grabs all the password that saves inside of your computer, either on from Windows Wi-Fi or from browsers or from bolts. So it will save all of those into in here and show it in here. So in the next lecture we will see how to open us this tool and see how it works and how is going to get the password. So far we have seen how cool Lazan is and how we can use to retrieve password stored in a Windows machine. The only problem with it that we just need to access the target computer to run this tool. Like we see before how we are running it on the Windows machine because this tool is opposed to the exploitation tool. So it is designed to run once you gain access to the target computer. So you will have to send the backdoor to the target person and then hack their computer and then use the method that you are going to learn and the post exploitation section to upload and execute this tool. So what in many cases you don't really want to hack into the target computer, you just don't want to get the extra connection, you don't want the extra complexity. So in this case you would want to maybe just send the person a file and then that file once they run it they will have Lazan running on the background and then send you a report to your mail, something similar to what happened to Kilover. But we are going to learn in this lecture how to open as Lazan and how to able to send a file to a target person. And once the target person runs the file, they will execute Lazan and Lazan will get us all the password, stored them in a file, and then it will send them us by an email, and this way we will be able to use Lazan with that hacking into the target machine. Now to do this I made a simple script which is this is the script that you should run and you so simply follow this script. So this is the script. I simply type .txt for in this case, but at the end you have to edit this txt to a bat file, which is the text script file. So make sure you at the end when you edit your file, make sure you change your extension to bat. So the first thing what you need to do is Lazan executable, as you can see, to do this work. That's because this is the file that will be executed on our target machine. So you want to go their website on the Lazan and download the exe file in here in your Linux machine, because we will be using this machine for post exploitation. Now after that what you need to do is we need to set our email, that we will be receive our Lazan report, which is like password or username and etc. Then we will set our password, and this is the file where this Lazan file will execute. So And the thing is that you should have a URL where simply just clicking that URL the Lasan file will download. So let me show you that, because this URL will simply save the down. Will ask you to download the Lasan file without even doing anything. And let's see, as you can see, the page doesn't even load, but they ask you to save you or run a Lasan file or download a Lasan file. So you must have a server or your own website or even Dropbox, Google Drive. So any of the drive that you have or any of the website that you have, just simply what you have to do is you have to set a website or set a link in this URL so that it just simply download without even going in on visiting on their website. So Lasan will be stored into in this exe file, where this Lasan is going to be stored on the target computer. So you can also set the location of the log file in here. So this is the location of the file, and then this is the content of the password, and this is the location of the target computer as well. So if you remember, I said when you use a number of modules with Lasan to retrieve the password, you can use browsers or you can use browsers minus F, for example, like Firefox. But in here we will be using all, and because if you want to use this one of those set person or one of those module, you can get a error. But if you set this as all, then it will show you all of those, and it will not show any error, and it will just run all the modules, and you will be trying this remotely. So we're going to try to get as much as information as possible from the target. So after this line, you don't need to actually change anything. You just simply type this as it is, and after that just simply click save and rename this as bat. So because then this will be act as a script file. So now what you have to do is, on your target machine, just simply visit the server where you can download, or visit the share the link where you can download, or the attacker can download and open Lasan, because that's the important part, otherwise it won't work. Because as you saw, I just simply saved it in here. So when I send someone this file, this will automatically save, and when this is saved on your Windows machine, just simply double click this file, will run the script, and it will get you all of those password into your mail. And that's how really you exploit using Lasan. Very simple. You just have to write the script the same way that you want, and you will get a report in the attachment in your mail, similar the output that we previously see in our previous lecture with Windows, how we see on the screen. The similar way it will show you on your email. So that's how you exploit using Lasan. So guys, we are going to learn about the basic or introduction of hacking system. So in this hacking system, we are going to first learn the cracking, that all you need to know. So we are going to learn about the basics of cracking and the hashes sorting, then NTLM authentication, then Kerberos authentication, and at the end we are going to learn the rainbow tables and other things that you need to know for the basic of cracking. Then we are going to learn the gaining access to the victim PC. So in this part we are going to learn the adequate write permissions and then escalating the privileges. After that we are going to learn the maintaining the access to the victim PC, how this is works, like how keylogger works, how we can use payload to backdoor. So we are gonna use this payload, or we are gonna learn this payload in a two-part. So after that we are gonna learn about the gaining access that attacks outside of our network. So we're also gonna learn about that, and then we're going to learn the part of post exploitation, which is the most, I think, important part. And in this part we're going to learn the couple of tools like hiding out tools from victim computer, how we can hide from victim computer to utilize your attack. Then steganography that alternate data streams, and some of the rootkits. Then after that we are going to learn about some covering tracks like clearing logs and evidences. So and then at the end we will also learn the real world example of hacking system with some demonstration.
Hello everyone. So today I will talk about basic cracking. So what is cracking? Cracking is almost the same as hacking because they both get into people's servers and documents illegally. But a cracker destroys the information and software that they get into. But hacking is not like this. So password cracking, from the cryptanalysis and computer security point of view, password cracking is the process of recovering passwords from data that have been stored in or transmitted by a computer system. The purpose of password cracking might be help user to recover a forgotten password, gain unauthorized access to a system, preventative measurement of password strength. So this is the point how password cracking. Hacking or cracking. A hacker is a person who is proficient with computers and or programming to an expert level where they know all of the ins and outs of a system. There is no illegality involved with being a hacker. A cracker is a hacker who uses his proficiency for personal gains outside of the law. Example, stealing data, changing bank accounts. It's then safe to say that all crackers are hackers, but not all hackers are crackers. Some misunderstanding in people about hacking. Many people get mixed up between hacking and cracking because they don't know what a cracker is, or they think it is the same thing. Even I didn't know the difference between them before I did this project. So now I can show you some basic cracking. This is my C drive. Open my NTDS of my personal data. Let's open virtual machine in Windows 7. Settings, memory 4 GB, let's configure the Windows 7 in virtual machine. Let's choose this file. Now connect. OPA is crack. So this is properties, statistics, all the option is here after cracking, and this is table selection. So this is how you can crack. Hello everyone. So what is password hashing? Password hashing is defined as putting a password through a hashing algorithm to turn plain text into an unintelligible series of numbers and letters. This is important for basic security hygiene because in the event of security breach, any Compromised passwords are unintelligible to the bad actor. As a result, the theft of this information is considerably more difficult. Below is an example. So now what is password salting? Password hashing is a key step to protecting your users on the backend, but it's not infallible because it hashes in a consistent way. This means it is predictable and can be beaten by dictionary attacks or rainbow table attacks. Hello, for example, will always equal to the same combination of letters and numbers and therefore can be guessed through brute force. One way of protecting against this is by adding a salt or using salted passwords. Salting is the act of adding a series of random characters to a password before going through the hashing function. How does it work? Let's take a look. So, using rainbow tables of pre-computed hashes, while an attacker could still recompute hashes of common password lists using a given salt for a password, a way to provide additional defense in depth is to encrypt password stores at rest, preferably backed by a HSM or cloud key management services like AWS KMS. Have a look in this cycle. Password store in database, password hashes. Algorithms specifically for hashing passwords. Bcrypt is used with passwords and uses a derivation of the blowfish algorithm converted to a hashing algorithm to a hash password and add salt to it. Source Wikipedia. Password based key derivation function 2. It applies more function, password or passphrase along with salt to produce a derived key. So all the information collected from Wikipedia. Salting works by adding an extra secret value to the input, extending the length of the original password. In the example, the password is Blumira and the salt value is security.wiki. The hash value would be made up from the combination of the two. That provides some protection for these people who use common words as their password. However, if someone learns of the salt value that is used, then they just add it to the end or start of each dictionary word they try to in their attack. To make brute forcing attacks more difficult, random salts can be used, one for each password. Hashing techniques explained. How hashing techniques work. At its core, a hash function takes a string input and turns it into a garbled string called a hash. And while that may sound simplistic, password hashing functions have several key properties. There are one-way functions. While a hash function can generate a digest from a given input, it's computationally prohibitive to reverse the function and produce the input given on a digest. By hashing password according to best practice and storing the digest, a website can prevent leaking a user's raw as a plain text password in the event that its password database is breached. If an attacker breaches a database of password hashes, they wouldn't have access to users' plain text passwords, which could be used to compromise their identities. They are also unique. No two inputs will ever produce the same digest. Password hashing functions. In stark contrast to cryptographic hashing functions, which are built for speed, password hashing functions are designed to be slow to compute and to use as many resources as possible to make brute force attacks slower and more expensive. There are three primary password hashing functions you should know about when storing passwords. The first is bcrypt. Not only does bcrypt includes salts, it also makes brute force attacks substantially more difficult. Bcrypt is considered CPU hardened, which means that computing a hash requires many CPU cycles. You can also set the number of iterations using a work factor, which makes it exponentially harder to brute force. As computers get faster and compute resources become less expensive, you can simply increase the bcrypt work factor to increase resource consumption. Another option is a script like bcrypt. A script is a CPU hardened function, but it is also the advantage of being memory hard. That means it deliberately consumes more money resources. In addition to specifying how much compute resources, password hash sorting like user password apple salt added hashing algorithm, then hashed password plus salt. Hashed is stored in database. Look this, password is pizza, salt, then hash, then it's not a plain text, plain password, function, salted and hashed password. So here is strategy for strong hashing. So in this tutorial I show you password hashing and salting. For more, you guys can watch the video again. That's it for today. Hello there. So today's topic is NTLM. So NTLM authentication. Have a look. In application server, NTLM challenge response to hacker. Use LSA to log into domain server impressions client connected with Windows NT directory service. Net logon, MS version 1, Windows NT domain controller. Net logon service returns user and group SIDs from domain controller. NTLM is the authentication protocol used on networks that include systems running the Windows operating system, and on stand-alone systems. NTLM uses an encrypted challenge response protocol to authenticate a user without sending their user's password over the wire. NTLM is a challenge response authentication protocol used to authenticate a client to resource on an active. APM requires a machine account and a NTLM authentication configuration to perform these checks. About configuration requirements for NTLM authentication. So have a look. Server and client connected with NTLM authentication. Computer networks are susceptible to cyber attacks if they are not protected against them properly. Networks are protected by not allowing every single user. So, what is NTLM? NTLM is an authentication protocol, a defined method for helping determine whatever a user who's trying to access an IT system really is actually who they claim to be. It was released in 1993, which is a long time ago, especially when you consider that IT years even faster than dog years. In 1998, Microsoft released an improved version NTLM version 2 in Windows NT 4.0 Service Pack 4. I am emphasizing the age of these technologies, not to cast shade on them, but to provide context. NTLM is the successor to an ever older protocol, LM, which was used in Microsoft's LAN Manager product of the late 1980s. When LM was created, computer network were far simpler, used primarily for file and print sharing and maybe a few client server applications. There was no internet to speak of, so each organization's network stood alone, unconnected to any other company's network. As a result, the chief form of cybercrime that IT pros needs to worry about was someone looking to steal user passwords by eavesdropping on network logon traffic. It doesn't take a genius, a straightforward way to eliminate this risk. Don't send user password across the network. Windows introduced its own authentication protocol, but the protocol is now considered largely outdated. How NTLM authentication works? A password hash is a pretty cool thing. It's created by a hashing algorithm, a special function that transforms a password into different string of characters. The function is repeatable. The same password will always generate the same hash, and it's one way. It's easy to transform a password into a hash, but there's no way to transform the hash back into the password.
To see how the password hash addresses the problem is hand, let's step through the NTLM authentication process that happens when one attempt to log on to my corporate network. Number one, I enter my username and password on my local computer. My computer runs the password one typed through the standard hashing algorithm used by both client machines like mine and the domain controllers DCS that provides authorization service that gives it my personal hash which it will use in step 5. My machine sends the nearest DC a logon request which includes my username. The DC sends back a random number which is known as logon challenge. If the values match the authentication of the client is confirmed and network access granted. If there is no match between the values, the client will be denied access. With NTLM, the client must first answer a challenge correctly before access to network services can be granted. So, have a look here. To property is here grid.http.proxy end username and description. Specify the username used to authentication the proxy server with the NTLM authentication. Type string or default value none. Example username. Then again specify the password used to authentication proxy server with NTLM authentication. Type string default value none. Its password. To keep a password sent over a network from being read by unauthorized third parties, a hash function is used in which the password is converted into an incompressible string of numbers with the help of mathematical function. Since this conversion cannot be undone very easily, hash functions play a very important role in cryptology. So here how client and server connected and domain controller information is partially relayed in the form of NTLM flags during the exchange between a client and a host. There are codes with a length of 4 bytes which sometimes only differ from each other by 1 byte, provide information on the status of the sign in process. One advantage is that authentication through NTLM does not require users to send password unprotected by the network password delivery from the client to the server. Okay, that's it for today.
Hello there. So today I'll talk about Kerberos authentication. So look the diagram here. Kerberos enabled service connected with privileged user and DCKDC also connected with privileged user, and some information, some work strategies like client request TGT from KDC, authentication services sends encrypted TGT and session key, client requests server access from TGC sends encrypted session key and ticket, client sends service ticket, server sends encrypted timestamp from client validation. So Kerberos enabled service, actually its definition. What is Kerberos authentication definition? Traditionally, when users access computer systems, they do so by entering a password. The challenge with this authentication method is that if hackers obtain the password, they can take on user's identity and gain access to an organization's network. Organizations need a better way to protect their systems and users. This is where Kerberos comes in. A Kerberos is a system or router that provides a gateway between users and internet. Therefore, it helps prevent cyber attacks from entering a private network. It is a server referred to as an intermediary because it goes between end users and the web pages they visit online. What is Kerberos? In mythology, Kerberos is a large three-headed dog that guards the gates to the underworld to keep souls from escaping. In our world, Kerberos is the computer network authentication protocol initially developed in 1980s by Massachusetts Institute of Technology computer science scientists. The idea behind Kerberos is to authenticate users while preventing password from being sent over the internet. Kerberos How does Kerberos authentication work? Kerberos provides a credible security solution for businesses of all sizes. But how does Kerberos authentication work exactly? Kerberos uses symmetric key like a ticket granting server, a Kerberos databases, and authentication server. During authentication, Kerberos stores the specific ticket for each session on the end user's device instead of password. A Kerberos aware services looks for this ticket. Kerberos authentication takes place in Kerberos realm, and in environment in which a KDC is authorized to authenticate a service host or user. Kerberos authentication is a multi-step process that consists of following components. Number 1, the client who initiates the need for a service request on the user's behalf. Number 2, the server who is host the service that the user needs access to. And number 3, the IS who is perform client authentication. If authentication is successful, the client is issued a ticket. And number 4, the KDC and its 3 components, the AS, the TGC, and the Kerberos databases. So, benefits of Kerberos authentication. There are some key advantages to using Kerberos as an authentication service. Access control. The Kerberos authentication protocol enables effective access control. Mutual authentication. Kerberos authentication allows service system and users to authenticate each other. During all steps of process, the user and the server will know that the counterparts that they are interacting with are authentic. Limited ticket lifetime. Each ticket in Kerberos has timestamps and lifetime data, and the duration of authentication is controlled by admins. And reusable authentication. Kerberos authentication is durable and reusable. Each user will only have to be verified by some system once. Then throughout the lifetime of the ticket, the user can authenticate without the need to re-enter personal information. Security: multiple secret keys, third-party authentication, and cryptography makes Kerberos a secure verification protocol. Passwords are not sent over the networks, and secret keys are encrypted, making it difficult for attackers to impersonate users or services. So this is all the benefit given by Kerberos. So look at this picture. So Windows Domain Controller, KDC, AC plus TGS. So user request TGC, TGT plus session key, request, server authentication, server source. Kerberos is a computer network authentication protocol that works on the basis of tickets to allow nodes communicating over a non-secure network to prove their identity to one another in a secure manner. And this process employs a conventional shared secret cryptography. So we need malware response plan. Keep these 6 basic steps in mind when creating your malware response plan. Identify which endpoints have been impacted by the attack. Then communicate once the impact of the attack and the point of entry have been identified. Communicate your findings to necessary parties as soon as possible. And block, if possible, block any further access from the origin of the malware, such as originating website, email, or IP address. And restore, put affected data back in non-good state where there is no chance of malware remaining. This can be done with rebuilding, or a combining of the two. Then recover as much affected data as you can using high-level backups. This is particularly applicable to ransomware attacks. Re-example: sit back and take a hard look at your current security strategy and what allowed the malware to get through in the first place. By analyzing and sealing these gaps, you protect your organization from a similar attack in the future. So that's it. Hello there. Hope you guys are well. So today's topic is a rainbow table. A rainbow table is a pre-computed table for reversing cryptographic hash functions, usually for Cracking password hashes. So, what is a rainbow table? The passwords in a computer system are not stored directly as plain texts but are hashed using encryption. A hash function is a one-way function, which means that it can't be decrypted. Whenever a user enters a password, it is converted into a hash value and is compared with the already stored hash value. If the values match, the user is authenticated. A rainbow table is a database that is used to gain authentication by cracking the password hash. It is pre-computed dictionary of plain text passwords and their corresponding hash values that can be used to find what plain text password produces a particular hash. Since more than one text can produce the same hash, it's not important to know what the original password really was, as long as it produces the hash password. So, rainbow table attack. A rainbow table attack is a type of hacking. It's actually one kind of hacking in which the attackers tries to use a rainbow hash table to crack the password stored in a database system. Actually, a password stored in a database. So, how does rainbow table attack work? A rainbow table works by doing a cryptanalysis very quickly and effectively. Unlike brute force attack, which works by calculating the hash function of every string present with them, calculating their hash value and then compare it with the one in the computer. At every step, a rainbow table attack eliminates this need by already computing hashes of the large set of available strings. There are two main steps in this. Main part is a rainbow table attack is creating a table. So how you can creating a table? Here the hash of a string is taken and then reduced to create a new string which is reduced again repeatedly. For example, let's create a table of the most common password like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 using MD5 hash function on first 8 characters. So first we have to take the string and pass it through MD5 hash function. Hash MD5 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 password and is equal a database. How it is stored in database? We reduce the hash by taking only the first 8 characters. Then we are hash it. Hash MD5 equal a password is equal a long password. Long characters. This is repeated until enough hashes in output chain that represents one chain which starts from the first plain text and ends at the last hash. After obtaining enough chains, we store them in a table. So, how cracking the password? Starting of the hashed text, the password is cracked.
If it exists in the database, if go to start of the chain and start hashing until there is a match. As soon as the match is obtained, the process cases and the authentication is cracked. The following flowchart examples the step. This is a diagram about how can rainbow table cracking the password. So here is a dashboard or example. Look, a block of character, a block of word is equal a single word. This is how database store password and show it to the user to a specific password what he given. Let's have a look at this. Here is some password and hash, MD5 hash. How it cracked like football or dragon. It's only a 6 word, but in MD5 hash it contains almost 100 character, 100 word. So creation of a rainbow table. For the creation of the pre-computed hash chain, we use two functions. The main hashing function, a reduction function. Then we start passing random words that can be the original text we are looking for in turn through the hash functions and the reduction function, thus creating a chain. Look like example. Here is a plain text and how it looked in hash and how it worked. After the computation of each chain, we stores only the first and the last password into the table. The first password is the starting point and the last one is the end point. After we finish computing the whole table, we sort it for faster look UPS. Increasing the length of the chain decreases the size of the table. It is also increases the time required to perform lookups, and this is the time memory trade of the rainbow table. In a simple case of one item chains, the lookup is very fast, but the table is very big. Once chains get longer, the lookup slows down, but the table size goes down. So this is for it.